States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let the minutes reflect that we do have a quorum. We have 5 of our 7 members here. So, everybody have a chance to read the minutes of the last meeting of July 12th. We didn't have one in August.
Not had a chance yet.
You are late, aren't you?
I do. Not only was I speeding, I failed to read the minutes.
Okay, anybody have any additions or corrections?
Yes.
There were 3 items I believe we acted on. Let's turn this page. Yeah. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve them as submitted.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 12th.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I abstain, I wasn't present at the meeting.
That's fair enough. All right. Sign this and pass it down to Mr. Barry. Okay, we have no old business. Under new business, we have a public hearing. Text amendment, ordinance 28-2021 to remove section 3.7.B.I and amend section 3.3.7B, B, II, and figure 3.2. You got that, right? Final procedure, secondary approval of subdivision control ordinance. I think Lisa.
Again.
I'm bad. I'm in trouble now.
No, it's all good.
Well, I'm 82, I forget once.
It's all right.
Let's explain this, will you, Lisa?
Okay, so what this does is it will require all secondary approvals to come back to the Plan Commission, whereas the way we have it written right now, it's kind of left up to the developer or the subdivider as to whether they choose to come back to the Plan Commission, which I don't. I think this will be a better, more expedient process for approvals. Is it'll be an agenda item, there will be a deadline for them to file, it'll be on the agenda, and then it will go through that whole review process, just like a preliminary does. But in a nutshell, that's what it does, is just, it sends any secondary approvals back to the Plan Commission.
So the flow chart shows the way that it will be once we amend it, or?
The flow,
I'm sorry, I had
so,
trouble.
just so you understand, this is, the flow chart is the way it looks now, but yes, it will be amended. The ordinance was, the only copy that I could find of the subdivision control ordinance was a PDF, and it has been a nightmare trying to convert that to a Word document, but we are working on that, and those documents will reflect the changes.
Not only that, I want to mention that if there's commitments made at the primary, then we can make sure that those commitments are met on the secondary plat.
Right.
And we did notice in the newspaper, and we haven't had anyone come into the office with any comments or concerns.
Where is the language that requires it to be approved by the Plan Commission at the secondary state?
If you look at the ordinance that I've included in your packet,
Yeah, I saw
I think it's 3.3.7B II.
it's double I?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha, thank you.
Yeah, there it is. Any other members have any questions on it? Comments? Sue?
No.
Since this is a public hearing, I will open it up to the audience. If anybody has anything they would like to say, please come up to the microphone and give your name and address and say your piece. Okay. Nobody chose to speak, so we'll close the public hearing. This time, I would entertain a motion.
I move that the ordinance number 28-2021 be amended amended to remove old section 3.3.7.b.I and to add section 3.3.7.b.I, which states as follows. The commission shall determine conformance with primary approval at a public meeting. The subdivider shall request commission review in writing not less than 30 calendar days prior to the date of the public meeting at which he intends to have his final plat reviewed. The commission shall place the matter on the next regular calendar. The administrator shall review the proposal and submit a written report and recommendations to the commission and the applicant. And the commission at the public hearing shall approve or disapprove the final plat. If granted secondary approval, it shall be signed by the designated officials. If not granted secondary approval, then the subdivider shall be informed as to the insufficiency of the submittal. I move that this be adopted.
It's actually a recommendation to the town council.
That's correct.
Okay. I overstepped my authority, but at least it was read publicly.
It was.
Okay, we have a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the town council for approval of this.
I'll
hear a
second that
second. We
recommendation,
have a
Tom.
second?
Yep.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Rimpert,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Ms. Howard,
Aye.
Mr. Van Leer.
Aye.
I vote aye as well.
Okay. So that will come before the the town council.
Town council, I hope to put it on the October 6th agenda if it's not too full, so October 6th.
Okay. All right. Okay. The next item is report of officers, committees, and staff. We have a proposal for the installation of an in-ground water storage tank by the water superintendent. Hey,
And you
he
have
has a helper.
Kent Elliott and Matt Ellison
Yeah.
is here to just kind of give you an overview of the project, just as a FYI.
I guess we've been, since we adopted the master plan, I believe it was last July or so.
A little closer to you.
I know, Barry Lofton, some of you, Grant Van Leer, when we adopted the master plan back in, I believe it was July last year, this was part of our plan to build a new water treatment facility. So it's kind of been in the works for a while. Due to the site chosen for this, the tank has to be built prior to the treatment plant itself under construction. We chose a site best available because of the well field currently available to the town of Danville. I've drilled numerous test wells since beginning or about spring of 2019, and doing so, we've pretty much got the aquifer surrounded what's available to us, and that's why this location was chosen, due to the current well field we currently use, and plus the addition of the other two wells, one we've already drilled, one we will be drilling. I'll let Kent take it from here.
Good evening. Kent Elliott with Banning Engineering. Just wanted to give you a kind of update where we're at on things with our water plant project, which includes a 400,000 gallon finished water storage tank. And I just kind of wanted to give kind of a overall view here. You know, this is Ellis Park. Here's North Park right through here. There's where the existing football fields are. And then, so we tucked this, you know, since we're going to be down in the park, we wanted to not encumber the park ground as much as possible. So we tucked this back through here so we could actually utilize the existing football diamond right here, or football tower, to put new baseball fields when the new football fields go up top to Aiken Park. So we've located this part right here. This is the plant, and this is the tank right here. I kind of showed this a little bit. We've done several test wells throughout the area. We have one over in Blanton that we'll be drilling that as part of this tank project. And Matt already said we drilled one back here between wells 3 and 4 that we'll put in a production well as well.
Now, this doesn't replace the other plant. It's just an additional capacity.
Yes, this is in addition to, and this allows for the flexibility for the existing plant to run it at a lower rate and extend the life of that plant. Plant is getting close to almost 20 years old. That's typical design life as far as the capacity is concerned that we typically design for. This just kind of shows, you can minimize out of that a little bit. That page, but make it smaller so you can see the whole page. Yeah, and then just make it smaller with the minus sign there on the left. Right there. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
That really minimized it, didn't it? So there's just for reference, the football tower's right there. This is where Kenny White football field is currently. Actually, there's the scoreboard, I believe right there. So these are going to be new diamonds, multiple use diamonds here. And then here's the proposed new water plant. These are the 3 filters that will be built initially. And it's built for expansion, so 3 more filters will go on this side of the filter gallery in the future. Proposed new finished water storage tank. And there's 2 detention tanks here that are part of the treatment plant process. So the water comes in from the wells, cascades through the aerator, and then goes into these detention tanks for settling of any larger solids before it goes through the filters. And then once these other future filters are constructed, another set of detention tanks and aerator will sit right at this location.
This is all on park land.
Correct.
It looks like the trail's going to be able to still be utilized, is that right?
Yes, we're going to have to relocate, this section through here. We're going to bypass it and come around this location and then add a trail that actually connects up over here. The rotary gazebo is going to
Rotary
be,
project has to be moved in, doesn't it?
if we can move it without destroying it, it's, Will's intentions was to put it over here kind of as a trailhead and actually as a walk, like over the trail, so you can actually kind of more as an entrance through it instead of off to the side.
And it looks
Is the
like
big softball diamond still there? South of that?
There's a minor league field, yeah, the Little League field is still there, so there'll be 3 fields there instead of 2.
Does the new facility run off of the same aquifer that the other water tanks run off of?
Correct, yeah, so it runs all along through the creek there, West Fork of the White Lick Creek.
What do you know about the size of that aquifer?
We've studied it extensively as part of our master plan, done quite a few test wells. In the master plan, we also looked at projections for demand and growth. And so that's why we've added 2 more additional wells, so that'll put us at 6 wells that we'll have in the aquifer.
But that tells me how many wells. It doesn't tell me the size of the aquifer. Is it a wide, deep vein of water, or?
It's a narrow aquifer, but it's a good aquifer. I guess I don't know what your question
I
is.
don't know how to judge an aquifer. I know
Well,
how to look at a
in the
creek
master
and say when
plan-
it's gonna go dry. I
Sure.
wanna make sure this one is adequate to, exist and for the next 20,
Sure, so-
25 years and not go dry.
Sure. Our current, our 5 highest days that IDEM looks at is your 5 highest pumping days of the year. Usually it's your hottest days, your driest days. You know, we're running at a demand of about 1.1 to 1.2 million gallons of water. This plant is sized where, for the projected, and I don't have the master plan with me, I didn't know we're going to get into that detailed in this particular case. But long story short, we have 5 million gallons constant that we can get for 185 days. To service all of Center Township, that was the second thing we looked at. Like if the whole town was all of Center Township, we're at about 7 million. So this plant is actually sized to where it could treat that full amount. Can we get out of this aquifer? We're not going to get 7 million. We're going to be at that 5 million gallon, 4 to 5 million gallon range at 100. They look at 185 days constant. Can you increase that to 7? Yes, but not for 185 days. You could do it for 30 days or 60 days. And there's very conservative. You look at 5 different types of formatting on how you come up with those calculations. They're all a little bit different, and then we picked the most conservative one. We use a hydrogeologist out of Ohio that looks at all of this, all of our test wells. We look at drawdown rates, pump test rates. We have monitors on the test wells, see what it does during the summers when we're pumping to see how that affects the aquifer. So a lot's gone into it over the past probably 4 years, really, we've been working on this project.
With the climate change and the weather changes, I think that is the main concern I would have. Is the water gonna have?
Oh, yeah. Can't do anything unless we don't have the water source, that's for sure.
Okay.
And another thing you may or may not know, we do have a connection to Citizens Energy Water as well. So right now, when we get to the point where we can't keep up with demand, we have a booster station that we pull water from Citizens. So we'll continue to have that backup connection, even when all of this is in place.
Now, have you taken into consideration the new development going west of town?
Yes, ma'am. So this is just another drawing of it through here. If you want to go and scroll up, this is kind of what the plant elevations look like. This would be the front kind of facing the road. This would actually be the facing east, which would be back towards the woods. This is showing both sets of filters, like if it was at the full build out. Just for frame of reference, this is the tallest peak eave there. We're at 20 feet, and that's to get all the piping and the backwash piping and the filter face piping in there. We have to tuck that in underneath this wall right here. So 20 feet's about our limit to where we can get down and get everything we need in there for this size of a plant. Okay. So I was talking about 2 detention tanks. These are kind of an elevation of what they look like. This was kind of the plan view. So that the water comes in from the wells. This is the ground level. Water comes up and it cascades through here with a blower. This is the aerator that oxidizes the water, and then it goes in and it has 30 minutes of detention time in these tanks to settle out the big solids. So the wells, everything is gravity fed through the plant by this water elevation. So that's why this elevation is critical. We're at 35 feet, I think, to the top of these tanks right here. And here again, we liked where we're at also from a standpoint of the backside. We're on the backside of a hill. We're not out in the middle of the park with, these big towers that are sticking out in the middle of the park, encumbering the park. So we've got those tucked back onto the side. This is kind of I don't know if you blow that picture up there. What's that? Okay. Well, anyway, there's this is a set that on a different project we worked on that's very similar to these, kind of just to give you kind of a visual what they look like. My understanding, Matt wants to paint these camo. What was something like that?
Put a wrap on them?
Yeah, real tree camo.
That way they'll blend in, with the background, right?
Hospital might want to paint it for you.
There you go. Moving, okay. So kind of getting back to the tank, the finished water storage tank. The elevation of that tank is 23 and a half feet tall. So it's actually shorter than what these detention tanks are. It's also buried in the ground 4 feet. So it's even shorter then. And that's the front side of the hill. And on the back side, we're buried an additional 6 feet. So we're actually 10 feet buried of that 24 to 25 height, a wall height.
So a lot of that'll be tucked away into the bank of the hill.
Yes, uh-huh. And I've got some pictures of those as well. Yeah. What's that? That's okay.
Because of the photos.
I didn't bring enough for it, but it's similar to this. It's a pre-stressed spiral around steel tank that's has a precast concrete panels on it, and then they pre-stress it, and then they put a concrete facade on the outside of it. This is one that actually, this is a 500,000 gallon, so it's a little bit bigger. Ours is a 400,000, simply because we got too much going on our site to even fit the 500 on there. It's always great to have that. This one's actually a 20 foot to the high water. We're 23 and a half because we had to shrink the footprint of it in order to fit it there. You'll see this one. I brought one that's a 300. So we have a 5 and a 3. I didn't have a 4 to show you that I've worked on our projects here recently. And then the last thing I had was the site plan that kind of showed, the back side of it's tucked in 10 feet, and then it's 4 feet buried in the front. It just kind of shows those elevations again. But schedule-wise, we've bid the Clearwell tank. They have to get on site first. You can see it's tight. They wouldn't be able to build anything else until they got that tank going. So we bid it to get a better price now and get on their schedule for next year. So they'll start in it March, April timeframe. And the plant we hope to bid yet before the end of this year. And they'll come in shortly after. They can start doing a lot of the other groundwork would be out of their site. So they'll be on site at the same time, April, May probably as well, to start construction on the plant. Tank should be done late summer, early fall, and then the water plant, it'll probably go into the following spring. We'll have a majority of it done by winter time, but we'll have items to still take care of and get punch list items and testing and startups. So it'll be a year or so before we get that ready to roll.
Do you foresee any problems with materials and things like that? It's too hard to say with
Yeah, I don't
what's going on.
I don't have a crystal ball. I'm hoping I haven't heard that, no, we can't get what we're asking for right now. I think things are actually getting better, and I think we'll actually get better costs the longer we wait on bidding the plant than if we would have bid it this summer. So I hope that continues.
Enough workers to build it?
Yeah, that's right. And we didn't show everything here. I was asked to talk about more of the tank and a little bit about the plant, but we have a lot of off-site water mains that we're having to work with also with the wells and the finished water lines and stormwater we didn't talk about, and we've got to run a stormwater line to take it down to the creek. So there's several off-site piping work that we'll be doing as well. And that stuff may start earlier than in March, April. But
Do you have any idea where that's going to go by chance yet?
the storm?
Yeah, far along, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the
You do?
plans. I can send you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's some issues along that hill, maybe we can
Yeah,
tie in
we have
some storm to that.
several stubs out where the fields are. So if the fields want to do under drains,
Okay.
they can tie into it.
Okay. Good.
You told me you've taken Miles Estates into consideration.
Mhm.
There's supposed to be some dedicated land out there for a water tower. Am I correct, Lisa?
Yes.
Have you tested in that area to see if there's a sufficient aquifer out there?
Yeah, she's,
Okay,
Yep. So that
All right.
water that'll be in that tank will come from the wells down at the
so
park.
we don't need an additional well out there to take care of that, just be a storage tank, basically a storage facility. Storing water, yeah.
And I just want to make a point of clarification. This will not come back before you as a site plan because utilities are exempt from zoning. So this is more, this is your public information, for more public information.
I've had people ask,
Yes.
are we going to run out of water when we build the Miles subdivision? So
Yeah.
everybody has asked.
That's why it's on my mind too, Joe. Because they ask us those questions.
Sure. Absolutely.
Is it safe to say we've been pulling out of this aquifer for quite some time?
Yes.
Okay. So it replenishes.
Are you looking for an approval tonight, or what kind of action are we looking at?
No action. It's
All right,
just,
thank you.
just for your information, public information.
Other questions?
Thanks for the information.
There is, the master plan should be on, it's public record on file with the town that was adopted by the council. And it has a lot of that information that you were asking about and then some in there. And then probably have some more questions, so feel free to let us know. Once
Too bad we didn't have this information back when we were dealing with all these new subdivisions coming in and
We did.
question that we didn't,
we did.
you had it, but you did, we didn't have it.
Council was made available, that information was made available to the council.
Left us out there hanging, huh?
Had there been any concerns though for water, you would have known that.
Besides the concerns from the developer, I mean, the people against it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
it does help if you can answer their questions on the spot.
Too concerned about it. It was in the works, same as the sewage treatment plant. Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, do you have anything else? Listen,
Yeah. I just have one thing.
you're
We will
not
have a
on here.
meeting next month. We have 3 new applications, 2 secondaries, one for Quail West, one for the Bevy, and a primary for the Miles Farm.
Okay.
That's all I have.
They didn't waste any time.
Nope.
Well, you're going to introduce the new
I'm
employee.
exercising a point of personal privilege, if you'll allow me.
I will.
Thank you. I do have some introductions to make. It's my understanding Madison has not been to one of these meetings, so first I want to introduce Madison Henderson. She is our community engagement coordinator for the town of Danville. She's the reason you're seeing more social media posts, road closures, all those things going on both our websites and our social media. So she's doing a bang-up job. She's
She's going to make sure that the public knows that we're not going to run out of water tonight?
she'll do her
Okay,
very best.
That'd be great. That'd be great. All right.
Yeah.
So just let you know when it happens.
And then our new office manager is Tasha Hensley. Tasha will be sitting here. She took Malin's place, and so she'll be here on regular on your meetings. Which brings me to a point that I'd like to talk to the board about. We would like to entertain moving your meeting nights next year for 2022 to the second Wednesday instead of the second Monday. And the reason we'd like to do this is that for staff, we have numerous boards and commissions that we have to obviously be involved in. And what we'd like to do is get as many of these on Wednesday nights as we possibly can. I don't have an exact schedule yet, but it would be our plan to have the council on the first and third Wednesdays, move you to the second Wednesday, move the park board to the fourth Wednesday. Those are our 3 biggest boards, obviously. And then the subsequent boards, Redevelopment Commission, BZA, Design Review, things like that. We feel like we can adequately put them in underneath these meetings, like maybe at 5:30, 4:30, whatever the case may be. What this does is it allows our staff to know that Wednesday is a meeting day. And and I'll just use Tasha as an example. If she wants to come in at noon because she knows she's going to be here at 8 o'clock, till 8 o'clock, as a manager, it makes more sense to me. She's not banking comp time, and it makes her day less lengthy. So the council's given us approval to move forward with doing this, but we don't want to do it without getting your guys' buy-in into it. So I'll probably be back at the meeting in October to see what your buy-in is and give you some time to think about it. But we really do think it'd be beneficial for our staff. And if I could figure out how to have daytime meetings, believe me, we'd follow the county's rule. I'm telling you, we'd do daytime meetings and be done with it. But and then the other thing I wanted to let you all know, I've asked Lisa to prepare RFQs, RFP, whatever you want to call it, to combine our subdivision control ordinance and our planning ordinance, or our zoning code of ordinance, subdivision control. Thank you, subdivision control and zoning. And it'll be called a UDO, and the nice thing about it is everything will be now in one book, as opposed to having two different books. Some of them contradict each other, unfortunately. They've been written a long time ago, so it's time to update, upgrade, and get everything into one book. Our concern, obviously, is money, as always. We do think we have found a funding source, so now we just need to send out the RFPs to see what we can get done. We've been told anywhere from 89 to 150,000. Just depends on what all has to be done. The beauty of it is water, wastewater, and stormwater have already done a lot of revisions on their own. So that's hopefully going to bring our costs down, because when you look at our zoning, probably 85% of it is all the utilities. So having that already done, we're hoping will actually bring our costs down. So just
What is the meaning of your acronyms? I'm not familiar with the RD.
request for proposal. RFP is a request for proposal. You can also say RFQ, which is a request for qualifications, but this is more for proposal than I think it is qualification. Qualification is what we're doing Wednesday night with insurance agents. So yeah, an RFP is a request for a proposal. And so we're going to submit out there and say, who wants to do this and what's your price? And then we're going to look at it and see what the
90,000 I'll submit.
message received. And then a UDO is a uniform,
Unified Development Ordinance.
yeah. I'm just the messenger, sorry. But yeah, we think it's a great idea at this point. We there's things we're just trying to play catch up on that should have been done probably years ago, and we're just trying to get them done so that Lisa and I are going to be here forever. So we'd like to leave things in a better shape than we found it. So that's all I have. Any questions for me?
I don't have any problems with moving the meeting to Wednesday. I would have a problem if you stack Plan Commission meeting and a BZA meeting the same day,
Yes, sir. Okay, we won't do it then.
because that could be a long day.
It
Could be.
might not provide adequate time for contemplation between.
So,
But the Wednesday's not,
Yeah.
as long as you don't do it Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock, because that's my golf day.
I understand, yes.
Also-
We haven't really sat there and looked at the schedule, but we'll take that under advisement. I would imagine, as we look at these, because of the like nature of three of the boards, design review would probably meet first Wednesday. We would probably have redevelopment commission meet second Wednesday. That way they're on the same day as your meeting, and then BZA on third Wednesday if we can get it done that way. That way we're not overloading the planning part of it, so.
Yeah, I think it's keeping it the same week, like Plan Commission's the second Tuesday now, it'd be the second Wednesday, BZA would be the third Wednesday, which would make sense.
Like I said, it's just something we've been kind of batting around the office, and we felt it was time to reach out to you about it. Anything else? Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thanks for the info.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope, I
Any
don't have
rumors?
anything.
No rumors?
No rumors.
What? Okay.
Son just joined the Navy, graduated boot camp. Yeah.
We just picked up our oldest daughter, Claire, who just graduated boot camp in AIT. So my daughter, Claire, Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri,
She's in what service?
Army.
Army. Cool.
It is.
Well, if nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much, everybody.
Best meeting I ever attended.
We haven't had fast ones.